There's three things we have to frame up when it comes to the deregulation of feeding athletes in college. Number one, the NCAA didn't invent these rules. They were voted in by the member institutions back in 1991 with the idea that competitive equity could be achieved if we leveled the playing fields by schools only being able to fund or supply one training table meal per day to athletes that had a scholarship. Full ride scholarships. So that covers room and board, a full ride scholarship. Fast forward 2012, the NCAA is considering deregulation. They understand that athletes have special needs that aren't being met with one training table meal per day. So let's put this in perspective. Number one, only about 15 to 25% of the athletes in any Division I athletic department are actually scholarship athletes. So the rest of the athletic department is on their own recognizance, these athletes, to feed themselves, where these 15 to 25% full ride athletes get the cost of their food covered as part of their scholarship, but can only have one meal per day funded or supplied in a enhanced meal that would be considered a training table. And the problem is when these scholarship athletes move off campus, the cost of the room and board portion of their scholarship does not cover the cost of living and feeding off campus. So after the first year, when kids move off campus, they're immediately spending food money to cover the cost of rent, and that's where the problem occurs. These athletes are waiting all day long for their one training table meal per day. That sets a stage for binge eating patterns, which we inherit for the ones that make it to the pro levels, that we have to work very hard to fix a healthy pattern in the way that they go about eating, because they've developed such bad habits quite often in the college setting under these circumstances. And then the rest of our athletes, the other 85 to 75%, get no food funded or supplied. They're not full ride athletes, or either walk-ons or partial scholarship athletes. So when it's all said and done, we'd like to see deregulation impact the ability to feed all our athletes, scholarship or walk-on, as the best that athletic department can do as far as raising money, donated food, to pull it off to feed all our athletes, scholarship, partial scholarship, or walk-on. We think that's the right thing to do. At the end of the day, these athletes do have unique needs as a student and an athlete that are challenging when they are under-rested and binge eating. They're not going to perform well in the classroom. They're not going to perform well on the field. And this is something that is not going on at any other level of sports. Whether it's pro or Olympic or with our military athletes, there are no rules. We can feed them as much as we need to feed them. This is a very unique situation that hopefully started in 1991, and we'll be able to say ended in 2013 after a vote that's due to come up here in January at the NCAA Convention. And we can move forward and let every school on their own recognizance figure out the best that they can do for their athletes, but not have our hands tied with this one training table meal per day. It's time, folks. If we can't pay them, we sure ought to be feeding them.